So joining me now live is Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, welcome to the briefing, sir.
Ed, great to be with you. My head's just exploding from all that. Where do we start? Is the world not safer today than it was a month ago? The President Trump had a very clear objective to end the nuclear regime in Iran. He's done just that. And I tell you what, I'm not tired of winning, but God bless President Trump. He's done a masterful job through this dilemma.
So why do you think Democrats don't like peace and prosperity? I mean, let's go at it head on.
Yeah, well, I think that this derangement syndrome is now psychosis. I mean, full-blown psychosis, just an obsession with President Trump, that they have separated themselves from what reality really is here. Again, President Trump very clearly stated Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. He went in with a strategic strike. They don't even understand what the war powers resolution is. I'm not a lawyer, but I could go back and read this one. It was done in 1972, I think, kind of think about the Vietnam War. And what it said is the president can't engage for more than 60 days. This was a precision strike. And what they're spreading out there, the Dems are spreading, is absolutely lies.
Absolutely. Speaking of lies, so the left is now pushing a big story. I'm sure you've been briefed, at least on the outlines of it. It's a CNN report that the Defense Intelligence Agency has made what's most important, an early assessment in the intelligence community. So it's early. They don't have all the facts. Their early assessment is that the U.S. mission Saturday night did not end Iran's nuclear program. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided Newsmax with this statement tonight, quote, based on everything we've seen, and I've seen it all, he says, our bombing campaign obliterated, he uses the word the president did, Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. Pete goes on to say the impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran, so anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. That's the defense secretary. What do you say about this CNN report, sir?
Well, I think it's more lies from fake news. But the proof will be in the pudding, and we'll see what the pictures are in a week or two. I think it would take a year just to remove the rubble to get to where this facility once was. I just can't imagine, what was it, 14 bombs we dropped on these. These were all a direct strike. The likes of which we've never seen. What these are 30,000 pounds each. I'm going to bet on the United States Air Force. They know what they're doing. It was direct strike. I bet we got our mission done. We'll wait for the final pictures here.
I agree with you. I'm going to bet on the U.S. Air Force. I'm going to bet on the Commander-in-Chief as well, who, as you mentioned, has been strong throughout all of this. Here he is on Air Force One on the way to the NATO summit today, talking about Tehran's nuclear program. Watch.
They're not going to have enrichment, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they know that. They're going to get on to being a great trading nation. You know, they're very good traders, and they're going to be a great trading nation, and they have a lot of oil. They're going to do well. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
So did they promise?
The last thing on Iran's mind right now is nuclear weapons.
He says the last thing on Iran's mind right now is nuclear weapons. The left would push back, and I want to be fair and point out, well, Iran's already stirring the pot. Maybe it's all bluster, sir, but they're saying, look, we're going to reconstitute. Maybe some of that enriched uranium was moved to other sites. What's your sense about the days ahead, sir?
Well, first of all, isn't President Trump the most transparent president in history? This morning, we knew exactly where he was. He didn't have to send an aide to go tell Bibi to knock it off. He told him in front of the whole world. And that's who President Trump is. Here he is on Air Force One saying, now here's what we're doing next. I think that the regime in Iran is more worried about regime change than they are nuclear weapons in the future. I think that's what their big fear is. They're trying to save face as well. And here's President Trump offering another olive branch. He wants peace. He cares about the Iranian people who have been tortured and murdered by their own government for decades as well. So I think it's another masterclass in negotiations by President Trump. Look, we're tired of the killing. That's all I can say is we're tired of the killing here. We're tired of the killing in Gaza. We're tired of the killing in Ukraine. President Trump wants to end all that. And when that happens, the world economy will improve if we can get all these wars back under control.
You know, it's interesting as I listen to you talk as a Republican senator. I've covered politics a long time, and the Democrats used to cast themselves as the party of peace, right? And now it appears that the Republicans are getting there. They were the party of working class voters, and Donald Trump maybe has reshaped the Republican Party there. And while all of these important issues are playing out at home and overseas, here's what Congressman Al Green was doing today on the House floor, sir. He was pushing impeachment.
I take no delight in what I'm doing. I do this because I love my country. I do this because I understand that the Constitution is going to be meaningful or it will be meaningless. I do it because I understand that the President of the United States of America has a duty to consult Congress before taking this country to war. I do it because no one person should have the power to take over 300 million people to war without consulting with the Congress of the United States of America. I do this because if I do not, this authoritarian president that we currently have will continue to assume power.
Now, thankfully, an initial test vote on that went down badly. But how do you negotiate? How do you even try to work with a party that you can't take seriously, where they push impeachment? And now we see in New York City tonight, the left may help elect a mayor of our nation's largest city who's a socialist, sir.
Yeah, and this is what earlier I was talking about, going from Trump obsession to Trump psychosis, and this is what you have, that they are totally dissociated from truth from reality. The president has a constitutional duty to protect this nation. Iran was 1 week away from having a nuclear warhead. They had enough 60% enriched uranium to build 10 atomic bombs. The president had a duty to protect us. That's what he did. You pointed out this earlier, the hypocrisy. Obama did similar things. Clinton did similar things. President Nixon, of course, as well. Mm-hmm. So this is psychosis. Thank God for President Trump that this is not phasing him. It's not slowing him down. He's going to do the right thing. I bet, I even saw some polling recently, 90% of Republicans support how President Trump has handled all this. I think he's growing stronger, more popular. The United States is respected more. This is what peace through strength looks like.
Absolutely. So much so that one of your House colleagues, Buddy Carter, has now officially, as you probably know, nominated President Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize due to what he's doing in terms of this at least tentative ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And now he's at the NATO summit. We're going to get a live report from the Netherlands in a few moments. And he's trying to broker peace between Ukraine and Russia as well. You mentioned Obama. When I covered him, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize because all the elites wanted to say Obama's the greatest and all that. But hasn't Donald Trump actually followed up and is actually delivering on a lot of this?
Boy, it's just amazing. And we don't need the trophy. The American people know, God knows what President Trump has done. And he does deserve the peace, the Nobel Peace Prize. There's no doubt about it. I'm still convinced that he's going to solve this riddle in Ukraine as well. I think that's where his heart is leading us to. If anyone can get this done, it'll be President Trump. I'm more focused on let's just get the peace. Let's get a long-lasting peace in Iran, get a long-lasting peace in Ukraine as well. Over 1 million, maybe 2 million people have died up there in Ukraine or injured as well. So we're all tired for the killing to stop.
Absolutely. I think the whole world is, sir. Last thing, your Republican leader, John Thune, announced today that votes are going to start in your chamber, I believe, this Friday to try and meet that July 4th deadline to get the big, beautiful bill with the tax cuts, some spending cuts. Some conservatives like yourself maybe want more spending cuts. What's your sense on whether you and your party are going to deliver on that for the president and the country?
Well, like you said, President Trump's done his job. Now it's time for us to do our job. This bill's not perfect, but it's going to prevent the largest tax increase for hardworking middle-income families in the history of our country. It's going to build 2,000 miles of barrier. It's going to give us border security funding for 4 years. We're going to run out of funding very soon to secure the border. It's going to give our military pay raises, make the military stronger for the next 4 years as well. You know, some things that people aren't talking about out there that I think are very important. This is going to defund Planned Parenthood. It's going to allow us to purchase short-barreled rifles again. It's going to give more flexibility with 529 education plans and with Pell Grants as well. There are so many good things in this. It's going to prevent an increase in your child tax credits from going to $2,200. If we don't do this, it would be $1,000. So there's so many great things in this bill. It's going to be a rising tide that floats all boats. It's going to give us more prosperity and security. So we don't have a choice. We need to get it done.
All right. Everyone will be following that very closely. Senator Marshall, we appreciate